My name is Alice, and today I'll tell you a story that completely changed my view of marriage, love, and who truly stands by you in tough times. It began 3 years ago when my father passed away. Dad was always a mystery to me, a quiet, reserved man who worked as a long-haul truck driver for most of my life. Mom said he loved the open road, the freedom of movement. I barely saw him growing up. He was always on the road. As a kid, I thought all dads lived like that. Home for a week, bringing gifts, then gone again. Our relationship was complicated. We didn't fight, but we were like strangers sharing a house. He never talked about his work, his worries, or his plans. Honestly, I never asked much either. As a teenager, I thought he just didn't want to be part of our family. Mom always defended him. Said he was exhausted, that long hauls were brutal, that he cared for us by earning money. But it felt like excuses. Other dads worked hard too, yet they played with their kids, went to PTA meetings, knew about school. When I turned 18, I left for college in another state, rarely called home, rarely visited. Student life consumed me classes, friends, first love, part-time jobs. I felt independent, finally an adult. After graduation, I married Daniel. We met senior year, he studied finance. I majored in literature. Daniel seemed reliable, grounded, not romantic but practical, a planner. Back then, I thought that's what I needed after my adventurous college years. We had a small wedding. My choice. No fancy expenses, and neither family could afford extravagance. Dad was silent at the ceremony as usual. Danced the father-daughter dance, gave a generic wish you happiness speech. No emotion, no advice. Daniel remarked, "Your dad's different. Most fathers cry at their daughters' weddings." I just shrugged. What could I say? That was my daddy thatched. The first years of marriage were ordinary. We rented a one-bedroom apartment, both worked, saved for a home. Daniel started as a junior analyst at a bank, ambitious, always talking about climbing the ladder, earning more, providing. I worked for a local paper, wrote articles, did interviews. The pay was laughable, but I loved it. Daniel teased, "When will you get a real job? Journalism doesn't pay." It stung, but I knew he was pragmatic. His salary was triple mine. I rarely saw my parents. Called Mom weekly. Dad never came to the phone. Mom said he hated phones and preferred talking in person. We visited twice a year, holidays only. Mom fussed, cooked my favorites, asked about everything. Dad sat in his armchair, watched TV, nodded vaguely. After visits, Daniel complained, "Your dad acts like I'm invisible." He was right. Dad never asked about Daniel's job, hobbies, or plans, just a hollow, "How are you?" At the door. It hurt, but I was used to Dad's distance. I told Daniel, that's just how he is. Though secretly, I wished he'd shown interest in the man who married his daughter. Years passed. Daniel got promotions. We moved to a 2-bedroom, saved for a car. Life was routine work, home, occasional movies or dinners with friends. No kids yet, though we wanted them. Daniel said, "We have time. Let's get stable first." Then 3 years ago, everything changed. Mom called early one morning, her voice shaky. "Alice, come home. Now." Something's wrong with Dad. I feared a crash truckers face risks, but it was worse, a massive heart attack. Doctors said he wouldn't make it. I raced home. Daniel offered to come, but had a critical client meeting. Said he'd drive up that weekend if needed. Dad was in the ICU, machines everywhere, conscious but unable to speak. Just tired eyes watching Mom and me. Mom cried, held his hand, whispered. I stood there, lost. What do you say to a father you never really talked to? He held on for 3 days, a miracle, doctors said. Then he was gone. The funeral passed in a blur. Relatives, Dad's co-workers, neighbors came. Daniel arrived, helped with arrangements. But it felt unreal, like watching someone else's life. After, Mom and I sorted Dad's things. Painful every item reminded me how little I knew him. Then Mom dropped the bomb. Alice, your dad left a will. We need to see the lawyer. A will? Dad, a truck driver, a lifelong employee, living in a modest house, driving an old pickup. What could he leave? The lawyer was stern, elderly. He verified our IDs, then read the will. What I heard shattered everything I knew about Dad. My father owned a trucking company. Not a hired driver, the owner. 18 rigs, warehouses in 3 cities, contracts with major firms. But that was just the start. Over years, Dad amassed a fortune that made my head spin. The lawyer listed numbers. I couldn't believe my quiet, humble father earned so much. Most went to me. Mom got their house, plus a trust for her retirement. I got everything else. The business, bank accounts, properties I never knew existed. Mom cried reading it. I sat frozen. Mom, did you know? I asked outside. I knew. He made me swear silence. Didn't want you marrying for money or people using you. Wanted you to build your own life. I was stunned. All those years I thought Dad didn't care. He was protecting me, saving, building a business, ensuring my independence. Why was he so distant? Mom sighed. He feared spoiling you. Grew up poor himself, knew how hard it was to make it alone. Wanted you strong, self-reliant. Feared if you knew his wealth, you'd become dependent. I replayed it all on the drive home. His silence, his absence, the lack of gifts. It wasn't neglect. It was love. Strange, flawed, but love. Then came the question, do I tell Daniel? On one hand, no secrets between spouses. On the other, Dad's warning echoed. People get close for the wrong reasons. Daniel was a good husband, but he fixated on money. Budgeted, saved, preached about financial security. Sometimes I wondered if he married me because I was low maintenance. I decided not to tell him, to watch how he'd act, thinking I was still a poorly paid journalist whose only change was losing her dad. The lawyer said probate would take months' paperwork, appraisals. I had to learn Dad's business, decide its future. I told Daniel only that Dad left some money and Mom got the house. He hugged me, said he understood my grief. But days later he changed, asked how much Dad left when we'd get it, if Mom could help with a down payment. Alice, just a ballpark. 50 grand? 100? If it's 6 figures, we could afford a bigger place. I claimed I didn't know the exact sum yet. He didn't buy it. He planned vacations, home upgrades, all funded by Dad's money. Then came the real shift. Daniel became attentive, bought flowers, suggested fancy dinners, asked about my work, said we should visit Mom more, get to know your family. At first, I liked it. Thought losing Dad made him value family. Then I noticed the pattern. Every kindness tied back to money. Flowers led to, so? Any updates from the lawyer? Dinner reservations followed by, should we check on those documents? Interest in my job meant, soon you won't need that tiny salary. Alice, ever thought of switching careers? Journalism is noble, but we need stability. Before, he'd said this dismissively. Now his tone hinted he already saw me as a wealthy housewife. Stranger still, he suddenly cared about Mom. Previously he tolerated visits. Now he insisted we go, help her sort Dad's things. Your Mom's grieving alone. We should support her. I know I wasn't attentive before. Nice words. But at Mom's, I watched him scan the house-eyeing furniture, layout, asking Mom how Dad earned a living if there were documents to review. Mom, trusting, was thrilled her son-in-law finally cared. She shared stories. I sat silent, watching Daniel dissect every word, calculating a trucker's lifetime savings. Meanwhile, I tackled the inheritance. Met Dad's operations manager. He had a manager, Andrew, who'd run the business for 15 years. Andrew told me things that stunned me. Dad was respected in logistics, known for integrity, reliability. Clients stayed with him for decades. Your father was remarkable, Andrew said. He could have expanded tenfold, but chose stability. He was so proud of you. Said you were independent, carving your own path. I cried. Dad was proud, talked about me. I thought he didn't care. Andrew showed financials, explained the business. It ran smoothly, profitable. I just had to decide, sell or keep it. If you sell, I'll find buyers. If you keep it, I'll stay on. Your dad was a great boss. I'd like to honor what he built. I asked for time to decide. At home, Daniel pounced. Well, what did the lawyer say? When do we get the money? I said probate wasn't done. He sulked but doubled down. Alice, I'll take time off. I know legal stuff. I can help. He'd never offered help before. You're an adult. Handle your own problems, he'd say. Now he'd burn vacation days. I declined politely. He got hurt, then resentful. Why won't you let me help? We're family. Or don't you trust me? It hit me. Why didn't I want him involved? Fear, or sensing something off. Then came the final red flag. Daniel visited Mom without me. Claimed he'd help sort things. Instead, he ransacked the house. Mom called me, tearful. Alice, I don't understand Daniel. He tore through closets, drawers, asked about hidden documents at safety deposit boxes. I said your dad wasn't secretive. He told me everything. Daniel wouldn't listen. Worst of all, he found Dad's home office. A locked safe Mom didn't know the code to. Daniel insisted on cracking it open. Mom, what was inside? Papers, lots of them. Daniel took them all. Said they might be important for the estate. I knew those papers. Business records, financials. Now Daniel had them. That evening he marched in, triumphant, slapped a folder on the table. Alice, sit. We need to talk. He pulled out Dad's documents, contracts, tax returns, bank statements. See, I told you he wasn't just a driver. Look at these numbers. He earned more monthly than I do yearly. Daniel was electric, eyes gleaming like he'd struck gold. There's more money, a lot. We just find where he stashed it. Tomorrow we demand a full asset search. I watched him giddy over my dead father's money, planning how to spend it. Time to end the charade. Daniel, I said calmly, what if I said you're right? That there is far more money? He jumped. I knew it. How much? 1 million? 2? More? How much? He grabbed my hands. I told him the exact sum. He demanded proof. I showed lawyer documents, bank balances, property appraisals, business valuations. He gaped, counting zeros. This can't be real. We're rich. We're so rich. Then suspicion darkened his face. Alice, why hide this? Now for the truth. I wanted to see how you'd react, to see the real you when money's involved. He scowled. Meaning? Meaning these months showed your true colors. You treated me like an ATM, controlled me, planned to spend my inheritance, rifled through my parents' home. I was helping. Who bought a luxury car on credit, banking on my money? Who picked a penthouse without asking me? Who turned Mom's home upside down? He froze, then snapped, You're crazy. We're married. It's our money, our future, our plans. When did you discuss them with me? When did you ask if I wanted a penthouse or a BMW? Obviously you do. Everyone does. Everyone? You do. On my dime. He paced, frantic. Alice, you don't get it. We have options now. A mansion, our own business, travel. And you're playing detective. I'm not playing. I'm studying the man I married. And I realized you didn't marry me for love. I was convenient. Low maintenance. Cheap. Uncomplicated. That's a lie, he shouted. It's true. Now that I'm rich, you think you hit the jackpot. A wife who'll hand you her fortune. He stopped, glared. What's wrong with that? I'm your husband. Yes, I want a good life. Is that evil? It's evil that you only care about money, not me grieving Dad, not my stress, just how to spend it. You're overreacting. Am I? Daniel, do you remember my birthday? Silence. My favorite book? Movie? What I dream about, he muttered. This is childish. Childish? You never knew me, just your easy wife. Now you're cash cow. Who I am doesn't interest you. We sat in silence. Finally, he said, Fine. Say I focused too much on money. But it's normal. Anyone would dream big with that wealth. Normal to dream together, not secretly pick penthouses or ransack in-laws' homes. Okay, I messed up. Let's start fresh. We'll decide everything together. I looked at him and knew I didn't believe him. His eyes lit up for money, not me. Daniel, what if Dad had only left a little? No millions. He paused. We'd live as before, work, save, still buy designer suits. Tour mansions? No, that'd be irresponsible. Still buy flowers? Fancy dinners. He fell silent. See? You changed when you thought I had money, not when Dad died. When I became profitable. Alice, what do you want? That I married you for money? But it wasn't there then. Wasn't. But the idea of it changed you. Money matters more than me. He sank into a chair, face in hands. I don't know. Maybe I handled it wrong. But I'm not a villain. I just got excited, wanted a better life, on my dime. Ours. We're family. Family discusses big decisions, doesn't scheme behind backs. We argued till dawn. Daniel swore I misunderstood, that he was overwhelmed, that he loved me. Money means nothing. But I saw it. Empty eyes at I love you, burning eyes at millions. At sunrise, I said I needed space, that I'd stay with Mom to think. Daniel panicked. Alice, don't do anything stupid. Like divorce or like what? Divorce. Splitting assets. Think logically. We're a good match. There it was. Not fear of losing me. Fear of losing money. At Mom's I thought for 3 days. About Daniel. Our marriage. If it was salvageable. Mom listened, then said softly, Alice, your dad always feared gold diggers. He wanted you to marry for love someone who'd want you, not your money. But I married before knowing. You did. But seeing Daniel change, it revealed him. Dad was wise. Money shows people's true colors. She was right. Daniel showed me who he was. Now I had to choose. Live with that? Returning home, Daniel met me with flowers and apologies. I'll change. I swear. We'll decide about the inheritance together. I listened, then said, Daniel, I've decided I want a divorce. He paled. Over money? Don't be rash. Not money. You. I realized you never loved me. You saw a convenient wife. Now a piggy bank. You don't see me. That's not true. I love you. No. You love the idea of wealth with me. That's different. He begged, promised golden mountains, swore he'd change. My decision stood. The divorce took 4 months. Daniel demanded half my inheritance, hired a shark lawyer, claimed spousal rights since we were married when I inherited. But my lawyer was sharper, proved inheritance was separate property. Daniel got only half our marital assets, our condo, his car. On the final court day, he hissed, You'll regret this, Alice. No decent man will want you once they know you're rich. They'll all see dollar signs. Maybe, I said, but now I know what to look for. But so it's been 18 months. I run Dad's company with Andrew Knott, just a brilliant manager, but a mentor. He teaches me the business. The company's growing. I bought new trucks, opened another warehouse, landed big contracts. Turns out I have a knack for this. Dad's genes, I guess. My love life? Still a desert. Dated a few men. Same pattern. Once they learned my net worth, things changed. One pitched investment opportunities. Another became suffocatingly romantic. One vanished, probably scared off. No one's loved me yet, not my bank account. But I'm not giving up. I know the signs now. I spot fakes. Funny story. Daniel called recently. Wanted to talk. Said he'd changed. Missed me. Done therapy. We met for coffee. He dressed simpler, drove a modest car, spoke softly, reflectively. Alice, I've done soul-searching. You were right, money blinded me. What matters is connection. Nice words. But I caught him eyeing my designer bag, my car. When I mentioned the business, that old fire lit his eyes. Maybe I could help manage things? My finance background. Again. Just subtler now. I declined politely. Won't meet again. Confirmed. Divorcing him was right. The saddest part? I never truly knew Dad. He left me riches but no chance to talk, to understand him. Sometimes I visit his grave, update him on the business, the challenges. I imagine him nodding. You're handling it? I'm proud. I lost a husband, but I found myself, learned I can run a business, make tough calls, stand alone. That's priceless. I've learned money isn't good or evil. It's a mirror. It shows who people really are. Some turn greedy, others generous. Dad used his wealth to secure my future. Daniel wanted to use mine for his comfort. See the difference? Now I use mine for good. Raised employee salaries, donate to charities, support Mom. Each time I feel Dad's approval. Will I find love? Maybe, maybe not. But being alone beats being used. Loneliness isn't scary. What's scary is being with someone who doesn't see you. I'm busy anyway. The company's expanding. New projects, new choices. Recently I considered buying a competitor. Andrew says, "Do it, market's growing." I hesitate. Dad chose stability over growth. Should I? Times change. What worked then might not now. I make these choices alone. Well, not totally. I talk to Dad at his grave. The wind rustles leaves, I pretend it's his voice. Trust yourself. You'll figure it out. And I do. Not perfectly, but I learn. Daniel emailed last week. Long, emotional. Wrote he's different now. Money doesn't matter, only I do. Same old promises. Same hunger between the lines. I didn't reply. No point. I'd rather move forward. Alone, maybe. But, honestly, strangely, I'm happier. Not pretending. Not playing easy wife. Living authentically. Maybe that was Dad's real plan, not just leaving money but making me unbreakable. If so, it worked. I'm unbreakable. And Daniel? He taught me the most expensive lesson, how to spot lies disguised as love. If I ever meet someone who passes every test who loves me, not my fortune, I'll believe in love again. Till then, I'm good. Really, truly good.